Spurgeon here. I have got my Diamondmind version 2 3D printer, and what I have done is I've added some lasers to it with some slight modifications. It's pretty straightforward. So just looking at the carriage assembly, you'll see I've got two lasers. There's a bit of light in the background, so it makes it a bit hard to see. They're actually just held on with magnets, so I've put some hot glue, some magnets on there and stuck a bit of metal, so they're easily removable. I've got two on there. I've got a 100 milliwatt and a 1 watt 405 nanometer laser. They're focusable, which is the important thing, and the focus is at the end, but also I can adjust the height up and down without having to worry too much about the z-axis on the printer. And then basically these things need to be driven from a constant current source, usually around 5 volts, and so the 1 watt laser came with a control board there, so it takes in 12 volts and it will spit out the constant current voltage for the lasers. Only one's plugged in at a time, so you'll see I've got a spare end here, that's for the 100 milliwatt, and I just unplug the 1 watt and plug in the 100 milliwatt when I want to swap them over. The fan is always on, and I've just hooked that up to the fan that drives the extruder nozzle. So the fan is always on, and then I just run a 2-core cable up through the wiring loom to the ramps board, which is at the top here, and I've just plugged this into D9. It's buried in there somewhere, I'm not going to pull that out, but D9, and I've modified some G-code Python scripting for a couple of Inkscape plugins, and it works really well. I'll show that to you. And I've also put in a switch here. I'm going to modify this a little bit more, but this allows me to turn the laser on without any G-code. That just helps me get the focus right before I do a print or an etch. Yeah, so that's off, and then if I want to turn it on, look at there. I'm going to modify this again for a 3-way switch. One will be turning the laser off, so it's completely off, even if there is G-code telling it to go on. The other would be a normal position, so the G-code controls the laser, and then another one is on, which will allow me to do the hard coding, but that's just another switch that I need for that. So there it is. It's still able to print with my filament. I just happen to have a couple of lasers magneted onto there, and of course they can come off if they get in the way. One important point: it's good to run it without a filament while you're 3D while you're 3D etching, or not 3D etching, while you're etching. Just the constant movement I've found with the filament stuck in there, and the filament not going through and being consumed, it just breaks off. So and it can be a bit of a pain getting it out sometimes, so it's best to remove that before you do a laser etch. Other than that, it really is a matter of generating the G-code and get going. One thing I will say, you are a complete idiot if you don't wear your safety glasses. These work incredibly well. They are the right colour for the right kind of laser. So if you've got a 405 nanometer laser, it's the green glasses, and if it is a different kind of laser, you're going to need different coloured glasses. The other thing I do is I've got a thick black piece of material which I cover over the printer while it's operating, so I don't get sort of light pollution leaking into the room. Just helps again protect your eyes. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. I'll show you some results. Let's have a look here. This is with a 100 milliwatt laser on a bit of card, and you can see that's a Yoda. I have a friend of mine who wanted that, so that's just on a bit of card, 100 milliwatt laser, and came out really well. The detail is very good, and I'll show you how I created that in Inkscape. Obviously you can do wood as well. Here's a bit of foam, and again it's the same Yoda. It's with a 1 watt laser, it's burnt right into the foam. It's quite three-dimensional. That's pretty cool. And it also etch wood, plastic. Depends on the material, but it also depends on the power of the laser. Sometimes the 100 milliwatt is actually better. and then the length. So the feed rate setting in the G code will determine how fast the carriage is moving. Obviously, the longer it's over an area, the longer it's going to have time for the laser to do its thing, and you'll just need to do a bit of experimentation around depending on what sort of result you're after. So there it is. It's my Diamondmind V2, which is a 3D printer and now a laser etcher with a couple of different laser choices. Yeah, good luck. If you've got any questions, feel free to email me.